Hi, I'm Lucy and I am going to talk a little bit about traveling with somebody on a Taiwanese passport. So if you are new to the channel, every week I share a little bit about my life in Taiwan, and this week I am going to share a little bit about my life married to a Taiwanese person. So if you are interested and you like the video, please click like, subscribe, share it. So these days, because of the Olympics, there has been a lot of discussion about the Taiwanese name. Everyone was so happy because a Japanese TV station, NHK, mentioned Taiwan by name, and the buzz was obvious. So honestly, many people in the world will not know how important this is to many Taiwanese people because the Taiwanese passport is a little confusing. It has Taiwan on it. It also has the ROC, the Republic of China. And so many people, when they see the Taiwanese passport, they're a little confused. I have experienced this confusion throughout the world. So when we went traveling, it never occurred to me that having the Republic of China and Taiwan on the front of his passport would be an issue. I had never put any thought into it. I had never needed to put any thought into it. But between us, my British passport and my husband's passport, we came across many hurdles depending on the country we were going through. And so whenever we approached an immigration desk, we crossed our fingers and hoped for the best. And when we went to Greece, it was the same. So it was my husband's first time in Europe. His first time ever to enter Europe. And we were doing it by leaving Turkey and taking a boat to a tiny island in Greece called Kos. Now Kos is small, cute, and very easy to enter Europe apparently. When we got off the boat, there were just some immigration officers at a table outside. It was very casual, it seemed way too easy, and they didn't even look in my passport. They looked at my passport, saw I was British, and told me to keep walking. And everybody seemed to be the same. Everyone was just in. Keep walking until my husband. Of course, the only Asian man getting off the boat. And they stopped. They checked his passport. The man looked at it. Yep. China. China. Okay. China. And I was like, oh man. And my husband's like, Taiwan. And they're like, it says China. And then his co-worker came over and he was like, oh no, it's Taiwan, he's okay. And they stamped his passport and let him in. Thank goodness. And while it was only a couple of minutes before his co-worker was like, it's okay, Taiwan is okay. Those couple of minutes when you are at a border feels like a lifetime. It's very stressful, it causes a lot of worry, and we did it over and over again. So one of the other places that we went to in our travels was Nepal. So going through immigration was pretty easy. Nepal was gorgeous. So many fantastic things to see in Nepal. Once I got over the food poisoning and being scammed, the country was gorgeous. So finally, after feeling better, we went to some tourist destinations. And everywhere in Nepal people would see my husband and say, oh, China. Oh, from China. We would go to the accommodation, they would check his passport to register him, and they'd write in China, and he'd say, oh, I'm from Taiwan. And they'd say, yes, China. And it was like, oh, okay. And this happened each museum you went to, each hostel we changed to, was the same situation. People would ask him where he's from. He would say Taiwan. They would say China. And they were not having it any other way. So one day we went to Kathmandu Valley, to Bhaktapur, which is absolutely amazing. There is a counter at each entrance to the area and you have to pay. And the sign says for foreigners, it is 1,100 rupees to enter, which is a little expensive for Nepalese standards. Now, if you are Chinese, it is only 100 rupees. So finally, after being told he was Chinese this whole journey, my husband was like, bonus, woohoo! I get to go in for 100 rupees. And he wrote down his name and he pulled out his passport and put it all in. And they said, no, you're Taiwanese. And he was like, huh? You pay 1,100 rupees, the same as her. And he was like, what? All this time, everybody has not accepted that I am Taiwanese and said I am Chinese. And now finally there is a bonus to this and I'm not allowed it because suddenly now it's very clear that I am Taiwanese. So unfair. We had similar experiences on the east coast of Africa. Each place we visited in Africa was a little stressful for many different reasons. It really was. Not stressful enough to stop us, but definitely caused some anxiety because you never knew what to expect in your next destination. If you are interested, I will put out a video about that another time. But crossing the borders was one of them. In fact, at one point, we passed immigration. We were like, oh, thank goodness, big sigh of relief. We were so happy. We were ready to start exploring a new place. And while we were still in the office, before we had even got to exit, somebody stopped my husband and was like, China, come. And wanted to take him to the investigation room or whatever it's called. And I just could not be dealing with it that day. I was just like, no, why? Why does he need to go to a separate room? Why him? Why him? I'm not having it. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I want to get out of this airport now. And the moment they saw me, whether it was my appearance or my aggravation that made him change his mind, he was like, oh, he's with you. Oh, okay. You can go. Huh? He's suddenly not a threat because he's with me? Makes no sense. But Africa, amazing place, beautiful, so much to see, so many experiences. I would love to make a video about Africa one day because that was a highlight in my life. We traveled for a year, so this came up multiple times. This is just a few of the many times that one of our passports had a problem. We were expecting some of the issues that came up. We were definitely not expecting all of them. I was very naive about his passport and how the wording on it would affect our travels, to be honest. So I want to ask you guys, if your passport says Taiwan on it and it says the ROC on it, When people ask you where you are from, what do you say? Do you say you are Taiwanese? Do you say you're from the Republic of China? What do you say when people ask where you are from? I've only ever heard people say, I'm Taiwanese, I'm from Taiwan, and only when the conversation gets deeper do they mention China. But maybe that's just the people I am talking to. What do you say when somebody asks you? And have you had any problems with the wording on your passport? Has it affected your travels in any way? I'm really interested to know because, like I said, I was really naive to it before it affected me directly. And now I am opening my mind a bit and I'm trying to learn from other people. And so please let me know your experiences. I'm really interested to hear how it has affected you. So yeah, if you liked the video, please click like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, please. And if you want to hear more travel stories, also let me know because I have so many that I love talking about. And I will see you next week. Bye bye!